The government says it's a tax on foreign companies. The data says otherwise. Right now, somewhere off the coast of Los Angeles, a cargo ship is approaching port. Inside those containers, electronics, clothing, machine parts, food ingredients. When that ship docks, a tax will be collected. The US government will call it a tariff, paid by the foreign exporter. What actually happens next is what this video is about. A tariff is simple on paper. An imported product arrives at a US port. US Customs collects a percentage of its declared value. The money goes to the federal government. End of story. Except it isn't, because someone had to pay that percentage. And it wasn't the foreign company. The foreign company already got paid by the American importer who bought the goods. The importer writes the check to customs. And now the importer has a problem. They paid more for goods than they budgeted for. What do they do with that extra cost? Let's walk the pipeline. A foreign factory manufactures a kitchen appliance and sells it to an American importer for $80. The importer pays a 25% tariff at the port, $20. Their cost is now $100. The importer sells to a distributor. They need margin. They price it at $115. The distributor adds their margin, $130 to the retailer. The retailer marks up. The product hits the shelf at $160. Before tariffs, that same appliance might have been $120. The $40 difference didn't come from the foreign factory. It came from every link in the chain, preserving their margin by passing the cost forward. The tariff was collected at the port. You paid it at the register. Here's what makes this so confusing. The tariff hits in March. Your grocery bill doesn't change in April. Nothing seems to happen. Federal Reserve research shows the full effect of tariffs takes an average of 7 months to reach consumer prices. Why? Because firms absorb the cost as long as they can. A distributor with existing inventory, priced before the tariff, keeps selling at the old price. Only when they reorder does the price change. And that reordering cascades through the system over months. By October, you're paying more, and you've forgotten there was a tariff announcement in March. The connection is invisible. That's not an accident. That's how the pipeline works. Between March 2025 and May 2026, the price of imported goods rose 6.8% relative to pre-tariff trends. That's measured across 350,000 tracked products. Not a model. Actual prices. The 2025 tariff regime cost the average US household $1,000 in additional taxes, not taxes paid to the IRS. Taxes paid at checkout, invisibly through higher prices. The 2026 scaled-back version, still roughly $700 per household. Per year. Every year. And that figure doesn't include the secondary effect. Domestic alternatives also rise when import competition disappears. The final piece of this system is who bears the cost. Research consistently shows tariffs are regressive. They fall proportionally harder on lower-income households. Why? Because lower-income households spend a larger share of their income on goods, food, clothing, basic appliances. Categories most exposed to import tariffs. Higher-income households spend more on services, which aren't subject to import taxes. This isn't a political argument. It's arithmetic. The same $700 per household cost is not the same burden for a household earning $35,000 as for one earning $200,000. The pipeline ends differently depending on where you're standing. A tariff is a pipeline. A product leaves a factory, enters a container, arrives at a port, gets taxed. Then the cost moves through importers, distributors, retailers, until it reaches your receipt, 7 months later, invisible. The government didn't lie when it said it's a tax on imports. The data doesn't lie when it shows you paid it. Both are true. The gap between them is the system. Next, the Federal Reserve. One committee, 8 meetings a year. They set a single interest rate, and it determines the number on your credit card statement, your car loan, and your savings account. Most people have no idea how.